Hello, YouTube. Guys, today I'm checking out Midnight Outlaw Rogue on the beta. Now, if you personally are interested in getting your hands on beta and coming and testing some of this stuff for yourselves, then you can buy the Epic Edition of Midnight, or you can enter up some giveaways. Like, I'm running a giveaway right now on my Twitter, for example, for an Epic Edition, which will give you beta access. But I just wanted to give you guys a heads up in case not everybody knows that you can guarantee beta access right now. That's how a lot of people are managing to get on and test some things. So if you want to come test this stuff out for yourself, absolutely do so. But for now, I'm just going to give you guys a breakdown of how Outlaw Rogue is looking in beta and some of the changes that are coming so far. Obviously, everything's a work in progress. Keep that in mind. So when I played Outlaw Rogue initially on the alpha a couple weeks ago, I wasn't actually super, invested in it. I think partly because it just seemed like it was going to be way too awkward for someone like me to play, where you have this, if you've never played Outlaw Rogue before, the way that this works is that you have these long cooldowns that you're just constantly getting reduced by spending combo points. So every time you're spending combo points, you can see these, long cooldowns that I've got going on. Every time I spend combo points, every ability that I have is getting reduced in its cooldown. And then you're getting certain procs, so parts of your rotation are going to proc things for you as well, like getting opportunity, which is like this talent here, which is then going to give you a cheaper version of your pistol shot, which is going to give you some combo points and do some damage and yada yada yada. So there's a bit of RNG. Well, there's quite a bit of RNG, but you're also just getting reduction based just on spending combo points. So that's the core of the spec, I would say. Now, you also just have single target hitting abilities, and then it's via the activation of your Blade Flurry that your abilities are AoE-ified, right? So everything sort of baseline is single target. So unlike the other rogue specs where you have single target bleed finishes, AoE bleed finishes, single target non-bleeds, AoE non-bleed finishes, you have finishes that give you a buff, etc., right? Like if you play Feral, if you play Rogue, that's generally how it works, is that you have single target and AoE finishes. For Outlaw Rogue, it's this activation of Blade Flurry, which is going to then give you the access to AoE. So you'll see my main core ability here is Sinister Strike. That's going to be generating most of my combo points. I also then get procs of Pistol Shot, which is here on my number 1, which is when I use this, it's going to give me 3 combo points. I can then roll the Bones, which is going to give me this buff here, which you can see. Oh, we got a triple threat. That's really good, so we can extend that with another cooldown. So I'm fishing for a nice little roll there with the Bones. And then using Between the Eyes, which is going to give me a damage buff for a period of time, and then also just hits really hard, and I think just has some interactions with the rest of your spec. Your Apex talent is going to interact with Between the Eyes, for example. So Between the Eyes is your main combo point finisher, I would say. So that's kind of the situation there then with Outlaw Rogue, and this gives you guys a bit of an understanding of how this spec works. I'm showing some gameplay here. Now, I can also show you how this looks on retail. So, retail is really quite similar. Let me just really quick turn on my personal resource display here. Lovely. So, that's going to appear on my screen somewhere, I can't remember where. But you can see, right? So, my bars are pretty much exactly the same, right? If I switch between the two, this is live, this is the War Within, this is Midnight, yeah? My bars, in terms of these 8 abilities here, are pretty much identical. And then you can see here on live, I have this ability, Ghostly Strike. This is because Blizzard is pruning some specs, so you are going to see a reduction in some abilities. Some things are going to be getting combined for some specs. Some things are going to get outright removed. Some things are just going to get replaced by a new thing. So for Outlaw Rogue, I guess you're losing a couple of active abilities. Ghostly Strike, for example, is just going to be getting removed. However, Blade Rush is still going to be in the game. It's moving position on the tree, but it's still going to be there for you. I think they've also, just as a side note, they've uncapped Blade Rush as well. I believe it was... Okay, no, it's now reduced damage beyond 8 targets, whereas I think on live it was just AoE. or had a set amount that it was doing in AoE. So they've made like some slight changes there to like Blade Rush, for example, but in terms of the other active abilities available, I think that's most things, to be honest. On live right now, the like Outlaw Rogue is very much getting re-stealth because you have these interactions with Between the Eyes, I believe, where I think, is it Crack Shot? Entering stealth refreshes the cooldown of Between the Eyes. Between the Eyes there's no cooldown and also dispatches the target 50% of the normal damage when used from stealth. So this is like an ability that makes you dependent on re-stealthing. And I guess that's something that Blizzard isn't super interested in. Sorry, I'm going to try and play some of this. Hell yeah, let's go. So this is the live version of Outlaw. But I guess Blizzard weren't super... Oh my god, wait, dude, I got a flipping jackpot. Oh, we got a jackpot roll. Let's go. I'm going to extend that. Hell yeah. So you can see Roll the Bones is different on live. You can see that, like, these are all my buffs here. And then I can obviously, like, I can extend that. Okay, you know what's really funny, though, actually? Just, like, playing this, and I've done this a couple times because I've been testing this video out, but Outlaw does feel better on live. Like, it's weird. It's not like massively different, but I think it's just enough. Maybe it's just better energy regen right now on live because my gear's just a bit better and whatnot, and maybe I've just like gotten a bad build on the beta maybe or something. But whatever I'm playing here is actually really quite nice, quite fun. So you can see like it's playing very similarly though, right? It's playing very similarly. I'm getting my pistol shots now. The difference being on beta is that your pistol shot actually. When you get a proc of it, it shows you how many, right? So when you get the opportunity, it shows you how many. Perfect. There's 3. We'll do it again. There's 6. So now when I expend one shot, a pistol shot, it's going to consume 3 stacks. Beautiful. Whereas on live, it just glows. So it doesn't tell you where you're at with that. But yeah, everything else on live is pretty much the same. It's just that like the interactions have changed, some of the talents have changed. You don't need to re-stealth, like I say. Crackshot is just gone. They've removed it. This is the same icon as Crackshot, but it's not the same effect, in case you were wondering. So they have tightened some things up there. Now they've also added in, I think this is a new ability, yeah, Preparation. They've also added in this ability Preparation to the beta, which is just immediately going to reset the cooldown of everything. On a 4-minute CD. So you do have access to that there. You still have Killing Spree. You still have Blade Rush. You still have Adrenaline Rush there. Everything else is all pretty similar. But yeah, you're just not reliant on needing to re-stealth. So those are the main things. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the developer note, because Outlaw Rogue initially in alpha had about 2 pages worth of changes. So this is directly from the developers here. They've said, Outlaw Before Midnight can be a very demanding spec to play. The factors involved in when to cast Roll the Bones could be complex. Performance relied on a lot on how long you could keep Adrenaline Rush going, and its shortened global cooldown could result in a high rate of actions per minute. In Midnight, we intend for Outlaw to be a very approachable rogue spec, while also embodying its fancy of a tricky, resourceful, sometimes underhanded fighter that is willing to roll the dice and take a chance. Roll the Bones now grants a single bonus of varying power. Outlaw no longer uses Vanish offensively, right? So you don't need to like constantly be doing the re-stealth thing. Adrenaline Rush has a consistent duration, but provides a bigger boost while active. Outlaw gameplay is based around building and spending combo points and managing your energy, with several random bonuses that can trigger and change up your rotation. Crackshot has been removed, but talents enabling Between the Eyes to reset its own cooldown and stack its bonus multiple times have been added. We hope you enjoy taking up your blades and pistol and living the life of an outlaw. So they've spoken a little bit about that, like a little bit in there about some of the goals, some of the gameplay like changes they're trying to make. So they want your Adrenaline Rush to be more consistent as a cooldown. It's not going to be quite as strong in like the GCD reduction, so that you're not... I mean, they're trying to limit, I guess, the amount of carpal tunnel Outlaw Rogues are getting, which I think is probably pretty good for the game. Probably pretty good for Outlaw Rogues in the long run. I mean, I'm suffering with some flipping RSI myself right now, so Outlaw Rogues a no-go. But they've also mentioned that, yeah, so they mentioned no crack shot, but they've mentioned that Between the Eyes is getting some ways to, like, it's getting some gameplay interactions. So, Ace Up Your Sleeve, gonna be Between the Eyes has a 5% chance per combo point spent to grant 4 combo points and reset its own cooldown. So that's how you're seeing there when I'm getting, let's see if I can just pop one out. If I get a Between the Eyes refresh, there you go. Build up to, I don't know, max combo points again. I don't know if that's actually the play, but it's going to increase my chance of getting another reset. Didn't get a reset, unfortunate. But you can see that that's the kind of the gameplay change with Between the Eyes. Now, also, they've made it so that you're getting a stacking buff from Between the Eyes. So let me get into a cooldown window here. I'm just going to play this messy, but let's just get into a cooldown window and try and get a few of these Between the Eyes, if we can. Getting, like, no procs of anything right now, which just feels really bad. So Between the Eyes here, if I use it, it goes up to 2 stacks there. And then drops back down to 1 stack when the initial Between the Eyes buff drops off. So, you can, in theory, if you're getting resets, okay, we got a reset there, perfect. So, you're going to see, I'm going to go up to 2 stacks here. We got another reset, perfect. I can go up to 3 stacks. And it keeps going. I think 4 stacks is potentially the max there. But as this stack, so it's like an overlapping stack. This is something that across the board Blizzard has been doing with every single spec that has some sort of like stacking buff. I've noticed it with every single spec. It's just a rolling buff. So you're not like refreshing and like building 4 stacks and then staying on 4 stacks forever. It's going to just naturally drop down. So it's one of those things where it's like, I think it's to simplify a lot of specs. So again, I can go up to 2 stacks here, but then the initial stack is going to drop off momentarily. There you go. Now I'm back down to 1 stack. So this is definitely consistent across the board with all the specs that Blizzard is doing there. But that's a bit of a gameplay change there for Between the Eyes, is that you're getting these, you're getting the damage amp. I think it, I can't remember where it comes. I think it just comes from Between the Eyes baseline. But yeah, there's quite a few Between the Eyes talents that you can take. I think that's probably pretty normal and consistent with live. But you've got this Ace Up Your Sleeve here, which is going to cause it to reset its own cooldown. And then you have the Apex talent. So the Apex talent is designed around Between the Eyes quite heavily. So Between the Eyes has a 45% chance to apply 2 stacks of its bonus to your damage dealt. So I'm assuming, because I can't take this right now, I need to get a higher level. So I'm assuming what it means by that is that it's going to give you 2 stacks of your Between the Eyes, so you'll go up to 2 stacks instead of a single. Then you have, when you spend 5 or more combo points on Dispatch, immediately strike your target with an underhanded Scoundrel Strike for 700 physical damage. Kind of like whatever, in my opinion. I don't know, maybe that has some kind of gameplay interaction there, but I think that's pretty bland. I think most middle talents for Apex talents are very bland. And then Gravedigger. When you dispatch, you have a 12% chance per combo point spent to hide a bullet up your sleeve. When you've hidden 6 bullets, your next Between the Eyes consumes them and is free, deals damage as if you spent 6 combo points, and immediately resets its own cooldown. So not only are you going to get like sort of more consistent stacks, and like just find it easier to stack up your Between the Eyes, but also then you're going to get an easier time with a refresh. And then also you've got this Ace Up Your Sleeve here. Now, I assume that the Apex talent can also interact with this. So, like, the free proc can proc a free proc, which can, you know, proc again. Well, I mean, it's not going to be able to proc the bullet effect, but, you know, you can get the resets from the reset, potentially, there. That would make sense. So, you can also get cooldown of Between the Eyes still. I believe that's also in live as well. So, Between the Eyes is absolutely, like, still a big rotation button that you're wanting to play around. It's just going to be made a bit more consistent for you to play around that. What are some other big things that have changed? Let me see. So this is a new talent as well, Deadly Pursuit. So I'm trying to just I'm not, you know, if something's like increase your damage by 4%, like that's a boring talent. I'm not going to go into details there. But some of the like potential gameplay interactions or things that are going to maybe affect like how you're playing are quite interesting to look at. So the devs have added this new talent, Deadly Pursuit, and they've also left a developer note for it. So it says losing uptime as an Outlaw Rogue can be extra punishing, because if you lose uptime, you're not getting the reduction on your cooldowns, so you're like doubly missing out, right? Since you lose cooldown reduction from Restless Blades when not fighting, this talent offsets that penalty, continuing the value of Restless Blades if you pause attacking. It is positioned so you can choose it over other utility if you choose. So after spending 15 combo points, if you spend no combo points for 4 seconds, so note that you can still generate combo points. So if in theory I was like attacking, but I'm like a little bit resource starved, but I just don't spend a combo point for a little while. I mean, I need to spend 15 before it'll trigger, but let me just, let me do that, right? So let's say I'm generating combo points right now, but for whatever reason I'm starved. You can see it kick in there, Deadly Pursuit there. So you can see it kick in. So you can, in theory, still be generating as long as you're not spending. And that talent will actually just kick in, which is quite neat. So you can kind of retain some of that reduction if you have to move away from the boss, or if you are just in a period of, like, resource starvation, you know, energy pooling and whatnot. I'm not sure how energy pool intensive Outlaw Rogue actually is compared to some of the other Rogue specs, and, you know, things like Feral and Assass and stuff. But that's something there. I think it's also interesting that they note about utility. I think Rogue specs are the only specs I've seen in the game so far that still have utility on their spec tree, which is very strange. I think I've seen maybe one of the Hunter specs maybe had something. But so far, I've tested, like, 6 different classes, a dozen different specs. Rogue's, like, the only one with utility on the spec tree. Very strange. I don't know. So there's that. I'm trying to think what else they've added. I mean, they've removed a bunch of stuff. So in terms of things that they've removed Ghostly Strike. They've removed... what are some other, like, actives? Again, I care more about talking about some of the actives. I mean, I think Ghostly Strike's the only, like, proper active that they've removed, really. And then they've removed, like, Ambidexterity, Count the Odds, Crack Shot, Dirty Tricks, Float like a Butterfly, Sting like a Bee, Greenskin's Wickers, improved main Gouch, Precise Cuts, Riposte, Swift Slasher has been moved to the class tree. I think it's there. Triple Threat has been removed, and Underhanded Upper Hand. So there's been quite a few things removed, but they've added in a bunch of talents, as you can see. I mean, you've got Trickster as well, so this is all new. Phased increases the damage taken by additional 3%. Unseen Blade may now occur once every 15 seconds and has a 25% chance to strike twice. Pistol Shot has a 20% increased crit strike chance and now triggers Unseen Blade when available. So that's all new there for Trickster. In terms of what's new for Fatebound, forgive me, I actually forgot to look at this. I think... Is this new? Edge case? That looks... Nope, that's there. Is it the left-hand side? Nope, the left-hand side is all in order. I'm doing it live. I think there's a couple things. Is it Rush to the Inevitable? That looks new. Gain 2 energy every time you flip a Fatebound coin. Gain 10 energy for coins that land on their edge. No, that's something that already exists. That's not new. I swear that's not new. Whatever, bro. Let's just go through all of them. Okay, so you have this choice node, flipping Fatebound coin. Tempted Fate. You have Deal Fate. Sinister Strike generates 1 additional combo point when it grants opportunity. Dispatcher Between the Eyes deal 5% more damage when they consume 5 or more combo points. Mean Streak. Yep. Fatebound coins flipped by Dispatch are 33% more likely to match the same face as the last flip. Guys, I'm just realizing it's literally just this side. It's literally just the right-hand side, and I'm a dumbass. Okay, it's these. Critical Strike chance increased by 3%. Then you have, after flipping a Fatebound coin that ends a streak of 4 or more, flip another that matches the same face. And then flipping heads increases the damage by an additional 4%. Damage up by flipping tails is increased by 15%. So, yeah, I think Fatebound is, I don't know. It's just, you get the RNG when the RNG does a proc of an RNG thing, that sometimes it does this one and sometimes it does that one. Cool. That's that covered. So I think that's most of the stuff with Outlaw, really, that I want to talk about. Oh, Roll the Bones. We haven't covered Roll the Bones. Okay, so Roll the Bones has also had a change. So on live, if I show you live now, right? If I show you this, so let's build up Roll the Bones. you're going to see in the middle of my screen here, you're going to see that I, like, random rolled certain ones. I rolled those 2 there. Now, if I roll again, we're going to get a different set, right? So now we got Grand Melee and Ruthless Precision, right? So every time you roll the bones is just very, I mean, it is just very random, right? That's the whole point, I guess. They want to reduce some of that random nature. So I'm going to roll again. And now we just got a single roll of Skull and Crossbones. So I think they want more consistency in what you're actually getting from Roll the Bones. Now, it makes it a bit more boring. I'll say that. But if you see me press Roll the Bones now... Oh, I got a jackpot! Oh, just kidding, not boring. I got a jackpot. Let's extend it. Oh, we're so back, baby. Let's go. Let's press everything. Go, 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 go. That's such a great time for me to say it's boring. So you can... I mean, we got a jackpot. Okay, whatever. But let's roll the bones again. You can see here I got one of a kind this time. So now it's just a preset, prescribed roll. If you get a 1 roll, it's going to be this effect every single time. Now, if I get a double trouble or whatever the hell it's called... Okay, we got one of a kind again. But let me go through them. So, one of a kind is always going to be Sinister Strike has a 20% increased chance to strike twice and grant opportunity. Opportunity is this talent up here, which gives you your pistol shots, right? So one of a kind is just helping you get more pistol shots, which is going to drastically help you in combo point generation, because it's going to give you 3 combo points, and it's also going to do some damage, right? And, like, trigger whatever else it flipping triggers. Double Trouble is going to give you the one-of-a-kind spell effect, but it's also, as we can see here, it's also going to add Sinister Strike and Ambush, generate 1 additional combo point, and deal 15% increased damage. So this is also going to help you with combo point generation, right? And do some additional damage on some of those abilities. I mean, I can flip in Ambush or whatever I get. Oh, I messed that up, but whatever. And then Triple Threat. Let's see if I can get a Triple Threat. Oh, this is perfect. As if by magic. So Triple Threat, add Restless Blade's cooldown reduction increased by 30%. So it's adding the effect to the other 2. So now your cooldown reduction is just going to be more potent, right? That's what you're getting from that. Now, can I get a jackpot? If I can get a jackpot here, this would be insane. Okay, that would have been so good, though. That would have been so cool. But jackpot is going to give the triple, like all 3 of the other ones, and then it's also going to add 10% crit chance. And the devs have left a note saying you may now only have 1 roll of the bones active at a time. So you're either going to have one of a kind, or you're going to have 2, or you're going to have 3, or you're going to have jackpot, right? But like they all add into, or well, as you go up, they're going to add into each other, right? So technically, if you have triple threat, you're getting the other 2 as well. So you can only have 1 active at a time, but some of them include the other effects, right? That obviously makes sense. You guys aren't dumb. So, maintaining it is extremely important, and different levels change the feel and pacing of your rotation. So they're looking in, like, now Roll the Bones is going to be very much just, like, combo point efficiency, or combo point generation efficiency, and cooldown reduction efficiency, right? Damn, would have been really cool to get another flipping jackpot. So that's how it's looking there. Now, again, if I go onto live, if I roll the bones now, yeah, cool. So, roll the bones on live, you're just getting random procs from the, I think it's 5 different effects that you can get. And you can get, like, sort of a number of those. So, compared to live, it's playing very, very, very similarly. It's just a lot of the under-the-hood stuff. Like, they've had a nice little UI improvement for pistol shot. They've changed between the eyes a little bit just to make it... I don't know. This definitely falls in line with how they're adjusting other specs in the game. Between the eyes is now working like other specs called out, like you'd expect with other specs, right? So, that's kind of the situation there with that. In terms of how it feels and flows, like, I think it's really quite neat. Like I said, on alpha, I wasn't digging it, but now I've had a chance to kind of go back and play it a little bit more on the beta. and I realized, like, oh, actually, I really do think I quite like this spec. I don't think it's as fun as Assassination Rogue, but if you're somebody who doesn't want the bleed gameplay, but you want to play Rogue, like, I don't know, Outlaw seems really quite neat, actually. It's obviously, like, RNG. It's a lot of... I think the hard bit for me, if I was going to play Outlaw Rogue, would be actually, like, trying to somehow figure out my cooldown usage. I mean, I guess you kind of just press things as that, like, you line things up. So, like, for your adrenaline rush, like, I guess you line things up so you have, you know, things available, but it's I guess you don't have to think too hard about when things align. But I mean, if I was doing a fight like Dimensius where you really want cooldowns at specific times, or you need to hold because you need them back for a specific time, like you need them for the 5-minute mark or whatever your push timing is for the boss, like Outlaw Rogue could be really awkward to play in that kind of environment, maybe, because you don't know when you're getting things. But yeah, that's everything. That's everything I wanted to show you guys. Cool. Hope that you like the look of Outlaw Rogue. I'll get Sub Rogue out for you guys as well. Thanks very much for watching. Again, buy the Epic Edition if you want beta. Come into my giveaway or other people's giveaways on Twitter for Epic Edition. And then also come watch me live on Twitch. I'm going to be doing a lot of beta testing in the coming weeks of every single spec and doing like tier lists and all that kind of stuff. All right. Love you. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Love you.